To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day. Yeah, yeah. Everything you need to know that you never knew, that you need to know. Look our perspective.
I've always been a unique person, you know what I mean? Sort of laid back in a way, but very adamant and very passionate about what I believe. I think a lot of times that sort of throws people off because they don't expect me to have the mindset or the process of thought that I do. And so when you come in to watch my channel, you may hear a myriad of thoughts and ideas that could be different from others. What I want you to do is just sit back, like, share, and subscribe. Well, hello and good afternoon, and welcome to the Lockhart Perspective. This is Felicia Lockhart, and I want to welcome each and every one of you for being here. I want to just welcome you. Hello, welcome. So, the story that we're going to be looking at today is it's sort of unique because as these stories seem to unfold about different things that are going on around the world, I think we've all been sort of distracted from the human piece of what's happening right up under our noses. And happy Friday to you as well, Wake Up Call Gaming, better known as Gerald. So there's a little story that happened. It's not a little story, but it's a big story. And you guys probably heard about it, but I didn't. And I just wanted to put some pieces together and see what we all think about this collectively, because it is sort of troubling. Apparently, there was a young boy who went missing in Louisiana, and he was recently relocated to live with his dad in Louisiana after his mother and her new husband sent him to live with dad. Well, apparently, he went off with a classmate. The family says they didn't know about the classmate, but you guys know how teenagers are. They have friends all the time that some of us never know about. But this young man went off to visit a classmate when the father went away to the store. Apparently, according to the family, his behavior was a little that was sort of not like him, being that he was just there for a short amount of time. And so I want to put together the pieces, and you guys decide what you think, because there are some twists and some turns in this. But I just want to, I'm not even going to interject what I think in the beginning. I'm just going to go ahead and let's start right now with the story and how it started. All right, let's do that. So hello, Sarah Brown, one of our members are here. Hello, how are you? Hi, y'all. I'm going to put my headphones on and listen while I cook. Girl, what you cooking? But I just wanted to say hi. As you all can see, I haven't had my lunch yet. Haven't even had any breakfast yet, but that's okay, right? I'll eat something later. Don't know, but whatever Sarah Brown's got going on, yeah, I want to be in the kitchen with Sarah. All right, so I'm gonna dance around it. I'm gonna put some pieces up first. First thing I want to do is let's just go on ahead and start with let's start with the city that this young boy was found in. That's what I think I want to do. I want to start with the city he was actually found in, 20 miles away from his dad's house where he was left, right? And let's start with that. So we're going to go straight to the location of Louisiana that he was found in. And I think that ought to help shed a little bit of light as to the location he was in when his body was found. So looks like Laureville or LaRueville, Louisiana. LaRueville, Louisiana is in Iberia Parish, Louisiana, United States. The population was only 887 folks in 2010, down from the 938 numbered just 10 years before in the US Census. Okay. There's the history of the city, there's the geography, the demographics, the culture, the points of interest, and so on and so forth, the basic things that you'll find. Let's look at the history together. All righty, let's see. Yeah, 887 estimate in 2019 was 840 folks. So it's not really a well populated area, right? It's a small area there in Louisiana, and that's okay, right? So that's pretty much what it is. It's just a tiny area of Louisiana, and that's where this young man's body was found. Now, I want to go right into the demographics because as of the census of 2010, there were 887 people, 341 households, and 231 families living in the village. There were 394 housing units, of which 53 or 13.5 were vacant. The racial makeup of the village was 76.9% white, 21.9% African American, 0.3% Native American, 0.2% Asian, 0.1% some other race, and 0.6% from two or more races. 1.1% of the population were Hispanic or Latino of any race. Of the 341 households in the village, 35.2 had children under the age of 18 living with them, and 47.2% were headed by married couples living together. 15% had female householders with no husband, and 32.3% were non-families. 28.7% of all households were made up of individuals, and 12.3% were some living alone who were 65 years of age or older. And the average household size was 2.60, and the average family size was 3.19. And it looks as if 27.1% of the village were under the age of 18 and 9.3, 18 to 24. The median age was only 35.8. All the other additional information is available here at the community survey. And the median income for the families from 2012 to 2016 was $42,625 for a family. Okay. So that's just giving us a little bit of background of where the child was from. I know what you're thinking, Felicia. Why do you got to be so literal with everything? I don't know how else to be. So that gives us an idea, right? None of us were there, so we got to have an idea. Now, the young boy, Quawan Charles, let's go on ahead and let's just look at the autopsy. Attorneys for the family of Quawan Charles have released an autopsy report conducted on the teen's body. The report, prepared by the Louisiana Forensic Center, says the teen's cause of death was drowning. The manner of death is, quote, undetermined. It lists as a witness to the autopsy the Iberia Parish Sheriff's detective, who is the lead investigator on the case. The report includes some information not previously released. It states that Charles's body was naked when it was found, and that he had been captured alone on surveillance video near where his body was found. It also states that Charles was spotted, quote, crawling in culverts near a school, end quote, and that he became combative and threatened to kill himself after smoking drugs, possibly marijuana or mushrooms. Again, keep in mind, this is what the autopsy report claims. Now, I know there's a lot of people wondering, why are we even talking about this? Well, the purpose for us talking about this is the fact that a lot of little things are building in communities. And we need to understand a lot of the stuff that's going on so that when it hits, none of us are shocked because we see the foundation that is being laid. Because when you look at all of the things that are happening in end times, it's all dealing with race. It's all dealing with confusion. It's all dealing with lawlessness. It's dealing with every single one of the aforementioned adjectives. It really is. It's dealing with all the other stuff I just talked about. So when you see these things that are under the wire like this, I'd like you to train your eye to look at all the stuff that's sort of under the national radar, but definitely on the local radar. I want to also remind you guys that I mentioned to you to keep your eye on Louisiana. Okay. If you guys remember that, I said it twice. I've said it in a most recent post, and I said it prior to that. Keep your eye on Louisiana. I'm training y'all to see stuff how I see stuff from the perspective of my shade, from the perspective of everything. Because see, if you don't know about these things that are going on and they're low level, when this other stuff pops off, you won't even understand where it really came from. Okay. But I want to let you know that this story is one that's intentionally seething. It's people, some people do know about it, but it's very low below the radar. All right. So we're going to go ahead and finish because I felt like I needed to share why we're doing it, because it all has a part to deal with the end times, because it's all a part of the foundation that's being laid by the plots of the enemy. Okay. To further divide, to further cause each one of us to distrust one another and to look at these situations for things other than they are. This is a plain and simple case. It really is. But some of the elements in the case, even though they are plain and simple, will cause most people to be very discouraged. And if they already don't have jobs and they already don't have money and they're already running around here eating candy bars, Steve Willis gave me a term for a candy bar overdose or something. I forgot what he called it, but it was hilarious and I forgot it. But in any case, I digress. All of that is what's going to add insult to injury. And don't let it be a gigantic hurricane coming up pretty soon. It's going to be on and popping. It's going to be on and popping in this region specifically. Keep in mind another thing. Laying down the foundation, do not forget how much farmland was purchased there just recently between 2013 and when they announced it not long ago. Do not forget that. Okay? Do not forget that a lot of those folks have been there for a long time. Mamas. So they have deep roots. That has to be uprooted in order for you to take over. Y'all better listen to what I'm telling y'all. Look, I'm teaching y'all this now. I'm letting you in on how I see things and how we get to the place that I'm sharing with you now. Now you'll see. So what I'm doing is I'm literally letting you guys walk through the path that I take when I start to see things. When the Father lets me see something, he'll show me one thing, and then I'll start to glean and pull pieces together to understand the foundation, to understand the why. And then when it happens, I'm like, yeah, I knew it. That's why I tell Ronnie Man. That's why you guys hear me say, I think I told somebody. Let me think of who I told. I'll tell at least 3 people. When the Father shows me something, I will tell at least 2 or 3 people, minimal 2. Okay. And the purpose for that is because I need to have not only my handwritten diary, but I need to have something to back it up. And I think, and I won't tell you guys why that is now. I said something about it when Karim was with me, when she did when she interviewed me, excuse me. But I want you guys to go ahead and listen to everything carefully. And I'm going to get back into the story right now, but I just wanted to share with you all why. All right. All right. So here we go. Now, the reports include some information not previously released. It states that Charles's body was naked when it was found and that it had been captured alone on surveillance. Okay, that he had been captured alone on surveillance near where his body was found. It also states that Charles was spotted, quote, crawling in the culverts near a school. And then he became combative and threatened to kill himself after smoking drugs, possibly marijuana or mushrooms. All right. First thing is, if it's a video and it has no audio, how do you know what he threatened to do based on that video? Okay. Possibly mushrooms or marijuana. Well, when you add the word mushrooms, that tells you that they're saying or lending to not only him being on drugs, but that he was delusional or that he was having hallucinations, right? Okay. The doctor who prepared the report finds that, quote, it is unknown why or how Charles drowned. The uncertainties about whether his drowning represents an accidental suicidal or homicidal death makes the undetermined manner of death most appropriately likely, the report states. Okay, most appropriate likely. All right. The positive toxicology report is noted, and the behavior caught on video and related by witnesses indicates possible psychosis, he writes. Although the levels of marijuana and alcohol were found to be low, it's possible the substances had metabolized as the body was found several days after he disappeared, the doctor writes. There is no ante-mortem injuries. There are no ante-mortem injuries to suggest a struggle, although it cannot be entirely ruled out, report states. In addition, alleged video evidence suggests he was likely alone, making a struggle leading to a homicidal drowning unlikely, end quote. The toxicology positive was positive for THC and metabolites and for alcohol. THC is the active substance in marijuana, it states. The medical report indicates that there were no, quote, acute antemortem injuries, quote, end quote, found on the body. Antemortem refers to, it says here, the time before death. There were post-mortem injuries consistent with animal and or insect activity on the face, the report states. Now, I've seen the actual autopsy pictures for 3 days. Okay. All right, we'll just go with it. I'm not going to show it here, but we'll go with that. All right. The eyes were free of petechia, which are dots that form when tiny blood vessels burst. It can be an indication of strangulation, and his hyoid bone was intact. A broken bone also can be an indication of strangulation. The report indicates there was no indication of injury to his neck or any other part of his body, and there were no bruises, abrasions, or lacerations, and his nose wasn't broken. There was muddy water in his nose. The attorneys for his family issued a statement again accusing the woman involved of homicide and demanding her arrest for the role in Charles's death. All right. It is the position of the family that the woman who is the person who picked up Charles the day he disappeared, surveillance video near his father's home captured him leaving with someone. The attorney says in the statement that, quote, there has been long enough evidence. Okay. There has been evidence all along to arrest the woman. The only rational conclusion is that there is foul play afoot or at work. They say at work, I say afoot. All right. So that's that. All right, no problem. We got that foundation laid down, right? We know where the city is. We know what the autopsy report says. Now let's get into a little bit more. All right. Hello, Mars Fool's Gold. How are you? Boy, oh boy, were you on that live last night with October Rains? Ooh, he be laying it down, don't he? Yeah, he does. All right, so here is, we're going to look at the footage here. And this is the footage that actually shows you where he was found, all right? And this is where he was last seen. Down here in Baldwin is where he was last seen, all right? Up here in LaRueville is where he was found dead. This is some 20 some odd miles away. This is where his father lives, and his dad had gone out to the grocery store, had gone shopping, and left him there at the house. 15, you do that with your kids, 15, 16. They're old enough to stay at home. You don't have to tote them with you everywhere you go at that age. However, it's apparent that according to what the parents said, that he was not the type of child to not do something, to not tell his parents where he was going. But no one knew where he was. All right. Now, nobody knew where the child was. No one knew where he was for several days. No one at all. And it was only by virtue of the video surveillance that anybody really knows what some of his last moments alive looked like. Okay. Up at the top is where he was found. All right. So here we go. This is the surveillance video, and it shows him here. All right. That's the fella right there. Now, the surveillance footage shows Louisiana teenager Quawan Charles leaving his home on the last day that he was seen alive with his, quote, friend and his, quote, friend's mom. And I'm saying, quote, because his mama don't know this lady. The father doesn't know this lady. The child had just started going to school there when they moved in the community with the dad, when he moved to the community with his dad. So they don't know these folks, right? All right. Okay. Now, police have released the surveillance footage of the Louisiana teenager, Mr. Charles Quawan Charles, leaving his home on October 30th with a mother and a son who were the last known people to see him alive. October 30th. Please don't forget that date. What state are we in? Louisiana. October 30th, the child goes missing. What state are we in? The state of Louisiana. What happens in Louisiana? What is Louisiana well known for? All right, let's go. Quawan, 15, was found dead in a sugarcane field on November 3rd, 4 days after he vanished from his parents' home in Baldwin, Louisiana. 20 miles now, over 20 miles away, right? The teenager's face was badly mutilated and half of his lips were gone. 2 preliminary autopsies were given and said that drowning was likely the cause of death. His family, however, believes that foul play was involved and that the police are not properly investigating. Now, police have released the surveillance footage that shows that Quawan was leaving his home and getting into a car. Police have not named them, but Quawan's family say the car belongs to Jeanette Irving, the mother of Quawan's friend. Now, that's what the story says, but you will find that the family later says in another report from other family members that they did not know this person. And even if they had, according to one of the relatives, they would not have had permission to take him, is what they're saying. But you know, hindsight's always 2020, right? So it says that Gavin, which is the son, Gavin is believed 17. Now he's 17, the little boy is 15. Gavin is believed to have gone to school with Quawan and the pair were friendly, but Quawan's parents say they didn't know him. The video shows the car passing by Quawan, who then chased it down. The vehicle returns and 2 people get out. 2 people inside get out. They and Quawan are then shown walking to his backyard before returning to the vehicle and driving off together. So it's quite possible he knew the child. Like they said, he was friendly, according to the video. Quawan's family say they never gave him permission to go with the pair and they don't know them. They also say that the Irvins, who have not spoken publicly about the case, told them that Quawan left their home later that afternoon and that they don't know where he went. The Irvings say that he left their home later that afternoon and they don't know where he went. Neither of the Irvings have been arrested or otherwise implicated in the teenager's death. Quawan's father called 911 about 8:30 p.m. that night to report him missing, but says that nothing was done to find him. And this is the young lady, the mother, okay, of the young man that she and the young man were the ones that were seen with him last on the surveillance video. Okay. And this is her 17-year-old son with their little doggy. You know how I love doggies. Okay. So the family think that the boy was a victim of a crime. They say the police would have acted sooner. They said the police would have acted sooner or put out an Amber Alert, but that was not done. That was never created. There was never an Amber Alert done. Janet Irving temporarily lost the custody. This is the woman here. Okay, this is Miss Irving. And it goes on to say that Janet Irving temporarily lost custody of two of her 3 children a decade ago. She was accused of domestic violence and neglect. All right, according to court records in Lafayette, Louisiana. The man that she's with, Joshua Romero, accused Irving in a handwritten statement to a local family court of suffering from drug and alcohol problems, stealing prescription medication and money, dropping their then 2-year-old on the floor and allowing the child to drink beer. The revelations come as the family of 15-year-old Quawan has been unable to talk to Irving about what could have happened on October 30th when he walked away from the Irving's trailer in the tiny town of Lauraville and into the sugar fields. As far as we're concerned, the family member says Quawan was under her care. That is what the spokesperson for the family said. They go on to say, we just don't know what happened. Now, the Daily Mail did go out and visit the trailer park there. And this is what I had showed you guys a few minutes ago, the location and the distance. And it says that Quawan was last seen alive and witnessed after the crushing poverty Louisiana agriculture countryside trailers damaged and unstable. I don't know what I'm reading. Lord help me. Okay, the DailyMail.com said that the Chastant Trailer Park, where Quawan was last seen alive and witnessed the crushing poverty of Louisiana's agricultural countryside, with many of the trailers damaged, unstable, unmaintained, or just too old to be comfortable. One of the park's residents, who asked not to be identified by name, told us where the deputies with the St. Parish Sheriff's Office found the teen's body, lifeless body, was pinging, and they didn't even ping his cell phone earlier. They pinged his cell phone on November the 3rd, right? They didn't ping it earlier. They didn't ping it until the 3rd of November, but he went missing on October the 30th. He walked to a vacant field in the back of an abandoned school through a thin hinge made of brush and trees and traveled about 1,000 feet south alongside rows of 10-foot tall sugarcane before arriving at a drainage ditch littered with discarded purple cooler and other debris. Nobody ever comes here, the resident said. There's no reason that he should have been walking around here, especially at night. You can't see anything, end quote. According to a family spokesperson, the teenager was picked up by the boy and his mom and left that long distance to 24 miles away on October the 30th. Now, Quawan parents said that they lived in a newly built, comfortable suburban development in Youngsville, Louisiana, with his mother, Roxanne Nelson, and her husband a week before he died. However, Quawan was sent to live with his dad in Baldwin, 35 miles away. All right, that's 35 miles away from the mama. At his new school, Quawan had been in contact with Irvin, 17, who had been in school with Quawan back in Youngsville, it says. And like him, he moved. So apparently he must have seen a familiar face in Miss Irving's 17-year-old son. For an unknown reason, Selena Charles said Gavin and his mother, Janet, picked up Quawan at his father's home and drove to their rented trailer in Lauraville. Gavin claimed that Quawan left their trailer park home on his own and didn't say where he was going. Now, first of all, if you're going to pick up somebody's child, right, in a normal situation, you pick him up, you're responsible for him or her. After you pick him up and you take him to your house, why would you let the child leave on their own volition if you went and picked him up? Does that make any sense? If I picked up your child and you did or didn't know, but I picked your child up, would it be acceptable to you once your child becomes missing that I allowed him to leave on his own volition? Would it be comfortable with you if I'd never called you to tell you, hey, I got your baby, he's over here playing, Xbox with my son? Would it be acceptable for me before I went and picked that child up to call you and say, hey, is it okay for me to come pick up your son and take him over 20 miles away from your house? So those things, as far as the foundation is concerned, that's not cool. That's not cool. There's a whole lot of holes here, but there's a problem. All right. So she said that he left on his own. They do not know what happened to him, but that Gavin claimed that Quawan left their trailer park home on his own and didn't say where he was going. Janet has not spoken to his family. They now have been evicted from the trailer park home, and that's from the Washington Post. Sheriff Tommy Romero said the investigators have spoken with at least one witness who reportedly saw Charles before his death in the area where he was later found. They said, quote, we have obtained and reviewed video evidence showing Quawan Bobby Charles near that area. The video evidence indicates that there's no other individuals present with Quawan's body or anyone else present for the same time or after that recording. The beginning, the middle, or the end of the recording, there's nobody there. A few hours later, according to the autopsy, Quawan is dead in a drainage ditch. At the time, he was in ankle deep water. Ankle deep water. All right. All right. Ankle deep. It was not deep, but you can drown. Let's just be fair and honest. You can drown in a teaspoon of water, right? Yeah, you can. You most assuredly can. So let's do this and let's look at the next piece of the story. All right, now this is about the woman. All right, this is about the mother who who picked him up. I think the boy was abducted, to be candid. The more I read, the more I see there was something afoot. October 30th really stings. And you also in Louisiana. You in Louisiana, and that's right on the cusp of one of their high holy days. That's all I'm gonna say. All right. Exclusive. The woman who was last seen in person to see tragic teen Quawan Charles alive has a history of arrest for drugs and burglary and lost custody of her own children. She was accused of neglect and domestic violence. All right. The woman who authorities believe was the last person who saw Quawan Charles alive before his corpse was found in Louisiana sugarcane field 4 days later has an extensive arrest record that includes drug-related charges as well as burglary and receiving stolen property. Now, for you guys that can actually see what I'm reading, you will see that I am intentionally omitting certain words that would incite riots, that would incite other things. Why? Because I believe that if you start putting in the words that people who write these stories want you to put in there, then you're going to automatically see color as the issue. Yes, we do know that that can be a problem and it could be a factor, but do we know? Seriously, I can't be led by that. Now, as we're reading through the story, we're not going to be led by that. We're going to read it without what they put. All right. And then after we're done, we can then judge whether or not we believe that this was that. And the way for me to know if this was that is I got to know a little bit more about the mama. But guess what? Can't find nothing on this woman. Can't find nothing on her. I'm going to have to get our girl on this one. I'm going to have to get her on this one. Okay. Yeah. Rachel Van Ziel. She's the one who does the deep research. But I'm not about to turn it into what they are obviously saying it is. Now, I'm not saying it ain't, but what I need to know is a little bit more about her background. I need to know a little bit more about her mom and them. I need to know what they believe in that area. Although there is 76% Anglo in that community, I'm not going to lean the way the Daily Mail or the other story wanted me to lean because we need to look at the facts first. There's a baby that is dead. And there is a woman who is now out of jail. They arrested this lady and they later let her go. She had a $400,000 bond and they knocked it down to $90,000. Yeah. So we need to look at all the pieces of the story. So as you're looking at the story and you can see certain buzzwords that I'm not reading them on purpose. Even though I'm sharing my screen with you, there are certain things that are here that I will not read on purpose because I want to get down to the nuts and bolts. And I hope you guys understand and I hope you are okay with that. Whether you are black or white, since I've been attacked by black folk recently. Okay. And attacked by some white folk too. All right. One man told me I was the worst 3 minutes he had ever on a video. That's the worst 3 minutes I've ever wasted. I can't get that time back. And I'm like, well, sir, I apologize, but thank you. Tell me what I did wrong so I can do it better. Anyway, it goes on to say that he was found 4 days later in a sugarcane field and she had an extensive arrest record that includes drug-related charges as well as burglary and receiving stolen property. And that was learned by the Daily Mail. All right. What's more, the woman, Jadon Irving, 37, temporarily lost custody of two of her three children a decade ago after she was accused of domestic violence and neglect. All right. According to the Lafayette, Louisiana court records. The man, Joshua Romero, accused Irving in a handwritten note to a local court saying that she had drug problems. We already read that, and that she had alcohol problems. The revelation comes as the family of the 15-year-old Quawan Charles has been unable to talk to her. They can't talk to her. They can't ask her nothing. And if she's innocent, I would be like, let me speak to you guys. Listen, I am sorry. We picked him up. I don't know. Why wouldn't you want to be forthcoming? Why would you go and hide if you did not do something you wasn't supposed to do? All right. As far as we're concerned, Quawan was under her care and we just want to know what happened. Now, we read that in the last story. But she comes from this young lady right here is the mom. The trailer park where the child was last seen alive was an agricultural countryside. That's why you find the sugar cane and all that other stuff there. But it is farmland. Uh-huh. Okay. All right. This is her. That's her baby. And this is where the child was found. A few hours later, according to the autopsy, Quawan was dead in the drainage ditch, which at the time was ankle deep. All right. This is the ditch that he was in. What would you call this under any other circumstances other than a murder or a murder mystery? Something's definitely afoot. And why wouldn't you arrest that last person that was seen with the child? It is a child. This is not a grown person. All right. This is where this is where Ms. Irving lives right here. And this is where the child's body was found. All right. Okay. That's the daddy's house down there, Baldwin. And that up there at the top is where his body was found. That's the child right there. That's the mom. That's the trailer. Again, where the baby's body was found. All right. All right. This is Irvin's dad, Alvin Irvin, picture, told the dailymail.com he doesn't know where his daughter is and hasn't spoken to her in 3 months. He hinted that no one else in their family has contacts with Janet. I have no idea what happened to that kid, but whatever is happening, she's brought that on herself, her father said, end quote. Okay. This is the Gavin and his mother. Janet picked it up. It says, for an unknown reason, Selena Charles, which is the mother that's pictured right here, says she never knew the woman and why she would drive him to their rented trailer in Laurelville. That's the trailer park. All right. Janet Irving, 37, temporarily lost the custody of her kids. We already know that sad story. All right. That's the one child. All right. So that's the picture book, basically. All right. Now we're going to go right into the video.
You hear it all the time.
No, I don't want to hear it
Small
all
town
the
kid
time.
who went off and became.
I don't want to hear it all the time. When can we stop this? I just want to lay down some foundation because you guys know this is not my vein, but I do know what's about to go on. And we're about to see some real crazy apocalyptic type of crap. Yep, we really are. We're about to see some real crazy crap. Hopefully this advertisement goes away real soon here. All right, here we are.
Update on the case of Quawan Bobby Charles, a black teen found dead in a drainage ditch in Iberia Parish, Louisiana. Janet Irvin is widely believed to be the last person to see him alive, but the Charles family cannot get in touch with her currently. And now we are uncovering Irvin's criminal past.
He loved me and I loved him.
Heartbroken mom Roxanne Nelson is searching for answers in the mystery surrounding her son Quawan's death. On October 30th, the 15-year-old was at his father's house in Baldwin, Louisiana. Here you can see him sitting on a curb as a gray car races by. In that car is Janet Irvin and her 17-year-old son Gavin, a classmate of Quawan's. Quawan gets in the car going to the Irvin's trailer park in Laurelville.
I want the lady that can't get my son without my permission and his dad's permission to be held accountable.
Irvin, no stranger to the law, has been arrested 5 times since 2002 for drug and burglary offenses. In 2010, she lost custody of 2 of her 3 children after being accused of neglect and domestic violence.
You cannot just take somebody's son, bring him to your house, and not be held accountable for them because he was in her custody. So now he's dead.
A preliminary autopsy says Quawan likely drowned in a drainage ditch in the sugarcane field next to the trailer park. How and why he ended up there is the focus of this homicide investigation. Because Quawan's face was so severely disfigured, the Charles family believes he was beaten before he died. And now they are demanding an explanation from Irvin.
I've been crying through all the day. I wake up in the middle of the night crying. I'm missing my son.
If you have any information to help police, you are asked to call about Quawan's death to 337-369-3711.
Come on. We all know that the slowest doesn't.
All right, there's another story that's coming up right now, and I want you guys to hear that. I hope you guys could hear the last one. Was the audio on that last one? You guys know me. I'll be sitting up here playing stuff, and you can't even hear it. But I hope that you guys were able to hear that last one. So we're going to skip the ad on this one. Let me make sure that you guys can hear it. I'll just stop it and start it just in case. Because I don't see nobody telling me. Like, I don't want to let her know. Do you guys want to let it? Do you want to let her in on it? Okay, so here you go.
In the death of 15-year-old. As we first reported Thursday, Janet Irvin, the woman arrested for her involvement in the death of 15-year-old Quawan Bobby Charles, is bonded out of jail. This comes after a judge lowered her bond by over $300,000 this week. News 10's Brett LaFaso spoke exclusively with the attorneys for Charles' family about why his parents say they are not angry. It's a story you'll see only on News 10.
The family is very cognizant of the fact that each defendant in this state and in this country has a right to confront their accuser. They're innocent until proven guilty. However,
this is the family's attorney.
Quite a bit, right?
On Thursday, Janet Irvin bonded out of jail after a judge reduced her bond by over $300,000.
As we go, there's going to be little speed bumps. There's going to be things that happen. The family is, I would say they were surprised, but they're not disappointed. They're not dissuaded. They're not thrown off the track. Okay, they are staying focused. And, you know, they're happy to see that there's a light at the end of this tunnel.
Janet Irvin is now living in Youngsville with her boyfriend and an ankle monitor. Trishelle says Quawan Charles's parents are not angry.
They're still happy there's been an arrest. They're still hopeful that the prosecutors will utilize their skills, utilize everything at their disposal to ultimately bring this person to justice and get some finality for Quawan and his loved ones.
He says Quawan's parents understand this is part of the process. Janet Irvin bonding out of jail just means they're one step closer to her trial.
They want justice, they want answers, they want finality, they want peace, they want the ability to ultimately move on and honor Quawan's name in some type of meaningful, positive way. That can't happen if the individual who's been charged is not ultimately brought to justice.
Trishelle says what Quawan's parents really want is justice and change.
They've come to the realization that they're not going to be able to bring Quawan back. Okay, that was, I think, the initial shock was, you know, wrapping their mind around the fact that their 15-year-old son is gone in a really abhorrent way. So now what they're focusing on is what can they do to honor his life? What can they do to prevent this from happening to the next 15-year-old child?
Whether that's through new protocols, a scholarship, or even legislation. Reporting in Iberia Parish, Brett LaFaso, KLFY News 10.
All right, so I've laid down the foundation and I intentionally erased everything that would be put in there to divide. And that was the purpose of why they allowed the newspapers to do it. What was stated right here is exactly what happened. Do you see what Sarah Brown has? Right there. October the 30th and the 31st, which is one of their high holy days. They are now altering this thing, the candy bar, to be taken by who? 12 to 15. And now it is out that you don't have to have any signature or permission to have it done. You can't even enter into a agreement, financial or otherwise, with a minor. Any contracts, things of that nature for people under 18 have to be transacted with the parent. So that was a sacrifice, plain and simple. And that's why we're talking about it here. because that's exactly what that was. Thank you, Sarah Brown. Thank you. And thank you guys for allowing me to lay the foundation without turning it into what they wanted our eyes to be distracted for. They wanted our eyes to be distracted. Okay? And that is why I shared this with you. Because what they will do is they'll turn the whole thing. And listen, I believe that it's a true situation. I don't believe that it's a false fairy or a fairy, you know, those F's things, those double F's. I don't believe that it's that. I think this was a real situation, obviously. You know why? Because we don't see specific attorneys in place. We don't see specific attorneys in place. The same ones you see that always run around every time you turn around. Okay? You don't see none of those cats in this situation. So we need to keep our eyes on Louisiana. We need to keep our eyes on things that would distract us and divide us by color. And we need to look at the fact that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. We wrestle against rulers, wickedness in high places. Okay? That is what this is about. We have to keep our eyes on that. All right? Less than 16 years old. We don't know what his lifestyle was. All right? But we do know that he was just sitting outside and they were flying. You wasn't going over there to pick him up. No, y'all was looking for something specific you were looking for. You were. They were looking for something specific because that vehicle was flying. Did you just see how fast that vehicle was going past that house? If you look, you could see. Thank you, R. Jones. Thank you, R. Jones. They were looking for something and they was rolling. They wasn't going there to get him. They just found him. Could have been him, could have been a girl, could have been another boy, could have been, but I think it was specifically a male for a reason. Yep. And the reason why a lot of us don't know about it was because it was done strategically and it was done for that location, even though it reached some level of national news and apparently worldwide if you've got the Daily Mail from the UK involved in it. But I'm telling you, there was a reason why it was under the wire. And I guarantee you that if we looked close enough, we would find a lot more stories similar to this in other states, whether it be Virginia, whether it be North or South Carolina, whether it be Atlanta, which is a very large hub. So these are the things that we've got to keep our eyes open with. We got to keep our eyes open with these type of things. And as watchmen on the wall, we've got to stay on our post. And we can't allow these type of things, as evil and as vile as they are, okay, to take us off. All right? Okay, but you know why it is of an essence Mars Fool's Gold? I want you guys, if you haven't already looked at the television show, it's a show called Passage, The Passage. It's on Fox. It's called The Passage. You can get it on Prime. You can also get it on something called Tubi or Tubby, Tubi. You can get it on that. And I want you to see who they're using and why. And there is some significance in this case. There's a lot to be said about melanin. There is a lot to be said, a whole lot to be said about melanin. And there's a lot to be said about that particular region, which was inherently all the way up the center part until they turned it into a little bitty baby boot. Louisiana is now today. Remember, that whole entire middle portion of the United States was all Native American. It was all, I don't think we were even called Native American then, but to be understood, that whole entire area was. And so we don't know what's going to happen in Louisiana, but keep your eyes on it is all I'm going to say. Just keep your eyes on it. Whether they're able to go through there and take a whole lot more of the farmland for little or nothing. All right. whether the United States government's annexes some more of that land over there and makes it government and then sells it pennies on the dollar, who knows? But we have to keep as watchmen on the wall. This is watchmen on the wall training 101. That's what this is. Okay? Because it is apparent that the rest of the body is not in shape right now. And they won't be because they are so far gone. So many people are candy bar, just sugar rush. Whole bunch of them just sugar rush. So now you know how to pray. Now you know how to intercede. Once you begin to see little stories like this, you know how to intercede. Why? Because even though it affects one community miles and miles and miles away from my house, it still affects me in the spirit because I'm supposed to be the watchman on the wall. We're supposed to be watching. When we see stuff like this, with Mars Fool's Gold, good point. Yeah. Mostly it was the Hebrew children. Mostly it was, and then you had Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. All right. I forgot who that was. I think it was Jesse Duplantis. Shadrach, Meshach, and a bad Negro. He's hilarious. Jesse Duplantis out of Louisiana. I need everybody to understand the times that we're in right now and understand that it is important for us to look at all the signs because now they're not going to be even looking for no more grown folks to do this, to go out and get the candy bars and all of that stuff. They're not going to be doing that. They're headed for what they were intended to go and get anyway. Is the children. Black, white, purple, yellow, green, or orange. It didn't matter. Did not matter. Does not matter. It is what it is. Okay? It is what it is. Sort of relaxed and sort of laid back. I don't get into these type of stories with all of the and I know that's just not me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just not me. Okay? Yes, I agree 110%. But here's the deal. Somebody higher than those local authorities had this woman on that job, and therefore, I'll leave that part right there. Somebody higher than the local authorities put that woman on this job. Piggybacking what my sister up here just said. Okay, that's the reason why. So when you want to ask the question, when we ask our question and we say, but this right here, why? Well, who sits in high places? Who sits in high places? Who sits up in a maritime stance? Okay. Who sits up high like that, looking down as if he's at the top of a ship, looking down at his subjects? That's why. And they're all a part of what? One nice big coven? Yeah, probably. More than likely. Yep. So it is a sobering thought that we have to connect dots where others that are in quote unquote Christendom refuse to connect, but it is necessary in end times, especially right now. All right. I believe that we are about to see something amazing and terrible. And that's when I say amazing, I don't mean amazing good. I mean, it's going to be terrible to those who can be terrified, but not to us that don't walk in the spirit of timidity. To us, we don't walk in the spirit of timidity. All right. And because we don't walk in that spirit, we're walking with our foundation firm in our Father and His Word. And we are not distracted by these things. We cannot be distracted by these things. This video will most assuredly be a members only or a private video, one of the two. And if you want to see this video after it is released, you're going to have to send an email. There's no other way that I could get everybody, even though it's just 8 or 9 of us, that's cool. I don't mind. That's cool. The 8 of us who here, the 9 of us who are here, that's who's supposed to be here. The 10 of us who here, that's supposed to be who's supposed to be here. All right. Okay. But this is definitely teaching you how to train your eyes to see exactly what's going on around you and why they put these stories out. Moreover, for those of us who would not watch these stories in the past, we got to keep our eyes right in here. I'm reading what you have on the screen, R. Jones. Yes, one nice big C for sure. I wish people could follow some things. Yep. So you guys keep your eyes open. All right. Keep yourselves in prayer. Pray over your. I wonder how many pets went missing on that same night. Small pets, small children, specific children. Okay. All of this stuff is steeped in that. All of it. Let me see what you got here, Mars Fool's Gold. Does anyone believe that they were just joking? No. And that's the word that I could not use, my friend. Thank you so much. You see, we see each other. Mars Fool's Gold, we see each other. That is what I was trying to say, but couldn't figure out another word to use. Thank you. Thank you, Yah, for letting my brother put that there, because that's exactly what I wanted to try to tell you. And no, it ain't no joke. No, they wasn't joking. They're very serious. They are very, very serious. For those of you who can, please send me your written address. If you don't mind, your mailing address, whatever address you want me to mail information to, please give it to me as soon as possible. And you can do that at Felicia@FeliciaLockhart.com. Okay. I've received a couple. Thank you guys so much. But there is so much that we really need to have on our tongues right now. We really do. We really, really, really need to understand that what's right there, Mars Fool's Gold, you on point, my friend. You are on hit. I have been seeing this for the past at least 5 to 7 years. Definitely within the last 5 years. Okay. Definitely. Didn't know how it would play out, but the closer that we get, the more I'm beginning to see exactly how it will play out. My brother, that right there, no, they wasn't joking. They wasn't joking at all. There's a few scriptures that stand out when I start thinking of certain things, and I'm trying to put pieces together. The one that says, and the dead in Christ shall rise first, and all these other different things. They don't necessarily mean that, but there are poignant points. Received something else in the email the other day where somebody had sent me for me to look at the first passage. I know you're in here right now. I went ahead and I read that, and wow, I read that. Page 228, you asked me to read. I read it, and all I can say is, wow. So this could be very appropriate for what you showed me. And I believe, can I say your name? Just put a yes if you don't mind. Because if you say yes, if you don't say nothing, then I know you mean don't put your name. And I won't say what it was you sent me. But if I have a permission just to reference you for sending something to me, please let me know right now. Because I read that page. And then I did a little more independent digging. And I was like, get out of town. But there was one particular group of people that I have had my eye on that was mentioned in that. And it was the Josephus guy, his family. Okay. So all I'm going to say is this is really not a time for us to just think that this stuff is regular as usual, or even get caught up into some of the headlines that we're seeing or the information that's being allowed to be given to us, because there's a lot of information that's allowed to be given to us. I asked last year, I was so frustrated about a year and a half ago, and I said, why do I know what I know? Why are you allowing me to know what I know? Not the Father, but the public. You know what I mean? Public information that was being disseminated. And you would hear, oh, this is going to happen to that one. And this is going to happen to that one. And they just took a whole plane full of people over here to this place. And they just did this. And I'm like, I looked over at my husband. I said, why are they telling us this stuff? There is a purpose, because if you know all of this stuff is going on, what good is it doing telling me? If you know that these illegal things are happening and you guys are the powers that be, then you need to have your power and go out there and take care of the situation. Why should I know about this stuff? And it was revealed to me at that time that it was meant to cause a divide and distraction from what the real thing was. When they have something going over here on the left, you better look to the right, and vice versa. And vice versa. Vice versa. I know here's you know what, you guys, I'm just gonna say it and we're gonna close out because we're right now at 59 minutes and going on 60. All right. Very, very, very relaxed way to present the information. I'm not gonna jump and hoop and holler, and I'm not gonna, try to incite anybody to do anything. I read it the way that I read it on purpose. I started the direction that I started on purpose. But I'm gonna tell you all something, that the stuff that is going on in the next few months, especially going toward July, please guard your hearts, guard yourselves with all diligence, guard your ear gates, your eye gates. This is not about fear. This is just telling you to be the watchman on the wall so that you can continue to pray and lead those around you into some semblance of peace and happiness and joy and security and safety. That's all this is about. Not, oh boy, we better be scared. Oh, we better don't be running around here afraid. He didn't give you that spirit. There's no timidity in him. I need everybody to do me a big favor because we've been having some challenges with the chat. I need everybody, if you don't mind, please, I love you, put a 1 in the chat, please. Everybody who is here right now, please put a 1 in the chat. You are under my voice. You hear me now. Please just put a 1 in the chat because I'm not seeing any movement. I'm not seeing any movement. Not to say that you guys, aren't chatting, or you are chatting. I just need everybody to put a 1 in here. And I need to count at least 6 1s. Unfortunately, there's 7 people now. Just if you would just put a 1 in the chat if you are here. Okay, sis. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. R. Jones. Thank you. Hey, how you doing? How are you today? Okay. Thank you, folks. Hey, Rosalie, how are you? Because they have been tampering with our numbers, and I'm going to just say it outright. They've been tampering with the numbers. Okay. Thank you so much, Mars Fools Gold. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Yes, sir. All right. Yep. Yep. Even if you are not necessarily able to say anything, I know that. Okay. Hey, sis, how you doing, Sandy? I didn't see Sandy. Hey, Sandy. Thank you, babe. Thank you for taking the time to put that in. All of you all. I know you all are busy because Sarah Brown throwing down cooking. Okay. All right. But yeah, that part. So this is really important for us to know what time it is. And we are the body, you guys. We are the body. And our Father has he has great taste. He has people in different shades, different tribes, different places. Remember, we are all of different tribes. We're his, but we are of different tribes. And each one of the tribes look a little different, but we all are made in his image. That's what we got to remember. This race stuff came about by man because it was caused to divide. That's where all this race stuff came from. And I know people say, well, yeah, but look, they were talking about it, the race and all this other stuff back when Moses was around because, Miriam. Now, okay, big deal, and we already know all of that. We know that. Okay. But my purpose for bringing this up today is for us to look at these circumstances and situations and realize that it is an attack on the creation that our Father made. And that is you, that is me. The beautiful complexions that I see when I see all of our faces. The beautiful coloring of all of our skin. As a makeup artist and a cosmetologist, I'm going to tell you guys, I just love to do skin from each end of the spectrum. I loved it. I love to take, the darkest skin and make it look like the brightest light. I love to take the most opalescent skin and just make it look so beautiful and so bright and just put different color all over, because it's just loving God's people, loving Yah's people, just loving Yah's people because of who we are. If we just divide, if we keep putting ourselves in these little divisive boxes, we're playing right into Rome's hand. We can't do that. Yes, there are differences between us. Yes, there are. But there's a lot of similarities too. Yes, that's true. So we can't take these stories and look at them and think that they are what they want us to see. Because, see, we know that we wrestle not against flesh and blood. but against principalities, powers, rulers, wickedness, and high places, all of that. And if we know that, then we see you. We see you. Yeah, we do. We see you. Because we're not going to be distracted. Hey, it may not be but 100 of us left. It may not be but 112, 120, 115. It may not be but a handful of us that make it in. We don't know, but we do know that if you got information, like y'all be hitting up that mailbag, if y'all got information, send it to me. If I got information, I share it with you. What I see in my dreams, I give it to y'all. We have to be connected like that and not be distracted by how curly my hair is. Okay. All right. You guys begin to watch things happening in the spirit realm around you too. You can't find your keys. You put them there, and you sure you put them there? You're positive you put them there. Yeah, that part. Because there's been a lot of stuff that's been open just recently. And I do remember in January, I was asking everybody, did anybody notice that? Did anybody just feel that? Did anybody just see that? Is everybody, or is it just me, or is everybody getting a little tired lately physically? Are you being bombarded by stuff and you don't understand where that's coming from? That's because of these types of things that are going on right now. They are on their job. And there's a song that I put in the community tab today, and I left it open. I did not make it members only. I left it open. There's same song, but two versions. This particular company decided they wanted to release it in pieces. They released the video, audio only. Then they released the video, lyrics only. Go over there and read those lyrics and look at that. And then look at the two cats that's in it. That one dude, that's not no man of God, man of Yah. It may be a man of God, GAD, but it's not a man of Yah. No, it's not. So don't get wrapped up in this worldly stuff because they're on their way out. I said that. We know that he reigns victorious. Our Father, he reigns victorious. Yahweh Shah, who died for our sins, who went up on that tree, who bled, who hung, who bled, who died for all of us. He wins. We win. We, the body, the bride, ecclesia, we win. We win. He wins. Not that the song is actually we win, but they're singing it from another perspective. And they're even using broken scripture to say it. No, our Father wins. Yahweh, the true and living God, the one who said light be and there was. The one who said, I ain't going to do it by water, fire next time. The one that said, turn away from me, you workers of iniquity, you workers, meaning this is what you worked. I never knew you. That one. Watch that Pope. Watch this country. Watch it all. Watch every inch of it. Hey, brother, Ronnie, watch it all. Okay? All right? That's what we need to keep our eyes open. Keep the eyes open. Don't be distracted because there's going to be some more stuff. And as you know, look, you guys, this is the year where they got to really see. Last year was the practice. Last year was the practice. Practice to see how much you can go out and shop and purchase. Practice to see how much you can learn how to put up. Practice to see how you can stay in the house and stay away from folks. I guarantee you in the next couple of months here, you're going to be glad you learned how to stay in the house because there's going to be some stuff happening outdoors you ain't going to be able to understand. Stuff falling from the sky, people coming up, you looking like, wait a minute, didn't you? Well, I thought you was, well, I guess they not. I guess they here. Maybe it was somebody else I was imagining. Yep. Mars Fool's Gold says discord is healthy and shows critical thought is still alive, yet the remnant is in us through the Father's creation. Okay? And Yahweh Shai's salvation. I'm being prompted to be still Yes, ma'am. You can't move around too much on that small ledge on the wall, right? You when you on a ledge on a wall, you can't move around too much. You got to sit there. You have a specific parameter that you can learn, that you can look at. Somebody sit in one direction, other person another direction, but we all see. We see each other. All we got to do is look toward one another. We can see each other, and then we can see in front of us, and the other person can see behind us. This is for us to watch. It ain't going to be billions upon quadrillions upon. It's not going to be a whole bunch of folks, y'all. I am more and more convinced of that every single day. It ain't going to be a whole bunch of us at all. Well, we're coming up on 1 hour and 10 minutes, and I want to thank each and every one of you guys for being with me this afternoon. I know you guys were looking like, what on the planet? Who is Quawan? Before we talked about this today, how many of us knew this story even existed? Did anybody, and if so, are you familiar with anything else that may be going on? Because they haven't updated the story for about a month now. We're coming upon a month where they have not updated it. You know, maybe they will pretty soon, but they haven't. You know, and so yes, it's a sad situation. I appreciate how the parents are conducting themselves, which lets me know that it's a real story. The way the parents are conducting themselves. They got a very solid attorney who was very well spoken, regardless of his shade of skin. He was very well spoken. Okay. He was speaking of the family, and they had him. They're dealing with it as intelligently as they can. I think for them to, you know, realize the fact that the baby can't come back and understand the fact that he's gone. I mean, you know what I'm saying? They're not out here running around acting crazy, and they're not inciting anybody to do anything crazy. All they want is some answers. Letter A, how did you get our child? B, why would you take him without contacting us? What kind of parent does that? And it's just very curious and very convenient at the same time that she has a situation where she lost her own children. All right. Okay. I can imagine her son saying, "Hey, I know him. I know him. I've seen him before." Crazy stuff, right? All right, you guys, y'all take care of one another. Keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open. All right. Y'all take care, and remember what we always say here on this channel, that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High Yah. You guys take care of one another. Take care of yourselves especially. All right? Okay, bye. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day. Yeah. Everything you need to know that you never knew, that you need to know. Like our perspective. Jimmy on the one. The second time around, you the only one. You the only one. You the only one. Now that I know you the one. We living in the word like I know the sun. You the only one. Yeah. You said it's mine for the taking. You blow my mind with this thing called love. You know every move I'm making. You know everything I'm thinking of. And I'm thinking of you all of the time. Oh, yeah. I can't ever get you out of my mind. You are the only one. You are the only one. It was always you from the start. It was always you all the time. I wrote you on my heart. I wrote you on my mind. And I'm thinking of you all of the time. Always. Oh, you are the only one. Only one. You are the only one. You are the only. You are the only one. You are the only one.
Bavashayat. In the beginning, Yah created the heavens and the earth. His spirit moved upon the waters. It's all in his word. He said, let there be light. And he called the light day. In the darkness, he called night. He saw that it was. He made heaven and called forth the dry land. Gathered the waters, called it the seed. And he made seed for man. Brought forth the grass and every herb and every fruit yielding tree on this earth. He saw that it was. He made lights to divide day and night times for seasons, days, and years to let them be for signs. And so the earth could have light. He made the greater one to rule the day and the lesser one to rule the night. Let's not forget he made the stars also. Then he told the waters to bring forth life, and it was so. He created all the birds of the sky, all the cattle and every creeping thing after his own kind. He saw that it was. Then Yah created man in his own image. He created them, male and female. He created them. He blessed them to be fruitful and to multiply and to replenish the earth and subdue everything within. Behold, it was very good when it saw when he had made the even in the morning were the sixth day. And on the seventh day he rested. That's why he sanctified and blessed it. It's uncontested. My God is, and to make it understood, I'm bumping truth music when I'm rolling through my hood. I'm putting God first, no hood fame. You read it on a nameplate. Dwell in the house of Yahweh forever for his name's sake. And though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'm stomping through like it don't even exist. His goodness and mercy follow me all the days of my life. His yoke is easy and his burden is light. My God is. And to make it understood, I'm fucking when I'm rolling through my hood. Yeah, I was. And to make it understood, I'm fucking when I'm rolling through my hood. Do you remember where we're from? Stayed up watching, no time for yawning. Look up at the sky, see that new day dawning. God be my witness, take it as a warning. Sun ain't never lie, great day in the morning. Focus, never let the nighttime revoke it. Blinded by the dark, I seen it before they cloaked it. It was marvelous, they hiding it behind the pulpit. Lying in a sick bed, vying with the culprit. How we trying on the culture, liking how it fit, now we dying with the vulture. At the round table with more nights than Mozart. Caught up in the image of that child on that poster. The light disable the diagnosis, healing the sick. I got the script and the dosage. Take it for the grind, you gon' need it for the borderline. Holler when you see the joy coming, morning time. Keep on keeping on. Morning time. Holler when you see the joy coming. Look, I guess we probably need a night light so we can continue to get our hope on. They say we headed for that light, right? Well, I'ma hit them with this photon, with that blazing sword forming like Voltron. When the morning come, they disappearing like Croatan. The Melachine, oh my Elohim, Omicron, sealed with the 70, going out like Yoke and 9. And when I meet my deliverer, I'm set apart. I got peace like a river. If we stay sharp with it, there's a feast on the sliver. We can take part. I advise you play it smart. It's a late start. Let the light shine through the dark. Until the day star rise in your heart. Take heart. When you find the door, you'll be more than fine. Holler when you see the joy coming. Morning time. Holler when you see the joy coming. Do you remember where we're from? Pray you strength to carry on. They trying to take my inheritance, this arrogance. I'm trying to save them the embarrassment. I spit truth, they forgetting what the marriage is. The meek shall inherit the earth, the rest perishes. They taught us all to listen to Balaam, with they palace and they caliphate. I'm destined for Salem, man, they rest is counterfeit. Plus it's destined to fail them. Shake the dust off this city, man. Who coming with me? There's a light at the end of it. I see it shine, getting life with the benefits. That's me and mine, holding fast to the legacy, whether the rain or shine. Do you remember where we're from? Pray you strength to carry on. Will you step into the sun? Do you remember where we're from? Pray you strength to carry on. Will you step into the sun? It's mine, it's mine, it's
The Lockhart Perspective.